Thing I want to say, this is violence. Yes. We have violence between man, which seems to be very popular these days, even in your own hometown. Violence in families, which seem to be, unfortunately, even more. Violence against Mother Nature. Yeah, Mother Nature wants to kill you. They want you to put in your 30, 40 years and then die. Die. But hey, Mom, so Mother Nature, that's why we have science. I would have been dead almost from the beginning. But if it wasn't for science. You know, somebody did the study of chimpanzees and apes, and they found our chimpanzee relatives who are about, 97% genes like us, and we have a few genes that are different. We stand up. Our vocal cords are different. Our intelligence is somewhat of the same level. We not only learn to kill each other, but we also learn to eat each other. Yes, I'm afraid so. Still current, yes. Don't go with Somalia. Yeah, and man has killed and eaten his way for the last 10,000 years of our history on this planet. So the point is, we're wiping out at least one species a day. Either they're starving to death or they're being physically eaten, especially if you live in Africa. Yes, except for the bat that contains the Ebola. Can't seem to get enough eating of those. And Ebola still pops up because we're eating the bats. Well, they're eating the bats, not me. My diet does not include bat, like they did in China. COVID-19, they traced it to a bat. They don't know if the bat was eaten or somebody inhaled the poop from the bat. But he brought that into a wet market, and he helped spread it in a wet market, and all these old people went to a wet market, and they contracted it. Well, and that's history. Yeah. Of course, wiping out other species has been a easy task for humans. We almost wiped out the buffalo. Think about it. We almost wiped out the U.S. buffalo. We did that to the white rhino. Yeah, there are no white rhinos in the wild. They're gone. Thank you, humans. The dodo bird's gone. Species that we never knew about is gone. Oh, here's one. What's that little fish in the can? Not alewives. Sardines? I don't know. But there used to be a species in the Atlantic Ocean that was a foot long. Sardines, I think that's one, sardines. It used to be a foot long. And we wiped them out to the point is we wiped them out. All at once, they're gone. They're no longer in the North Atlantic. They're no longer anywhere. We simply wiped them out. And we have done that to other species. We wiped them out. Or it gets to the point is that the government comes along and says you no longer fish in that thing. I think it was Norway. They stopped having fish. And they put a ban on fishing, and they enforced it too. If you got caught fishing for that species, they took your boat away from you. They tossed your butt in jail, and you can sit in there for 5 years. And other foreign countries have done the same thing. They have sunk Chinese trawlers. They tell them that you do not come into our waters, And if you do, we will sink you. And they sink them. And we'll try to use governments. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, yes. We're going to sink them if they show up in our waters. If they show up in our waters and they don't even fish, we're going to sink them. We pull them off the boats, fine them, throw them in jail, and sink their boats. I'll make a lot of coral reefs that way. But again, we have a big problem. While we can wipe out all the other species on the planet with a good efficiency, can't seem to wipe each other out. Oh yes, that's always been a problem. And we're racing to 9 billion people by the end of this thing, which is what? This is 22. 8 more years. We should have 9 billion people on the planet. And it's going to increase. We have the ability to create beautiful cities. And also we have the creative ability, as we see in Ukraine, destroying the city. Actually, showing the violence of man, President Putin against the rest of the world, being Ukraine, he's destroying whole cities. He doesn't care about it, because he's planning to get rid of all the Ukrainians. Our dear old, he says he can get away with it because he's a nuclear power, and if you try to stop him, or if you get to the point he will launch nuclear weapons against the Ukraine or anybody else there. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's great. Start World War III, turn us into a cinder. You know, the old saying, man can make a hammer, and man can take that hammer and beat his brother's head in with a hammer. Somebody said in our history it is within our genes to be violent. No, actually it's not within our genes to be violent. I have the ability to do major damage, and so far I haven't desired to go out and slaughter my brother. How much you worth again? Sometimes I wish I did slaughter him. He cheats in chest! What do you mean he cheats in chess? He cheats! I don't know how he does it. I was a good chess player. Oh, of course. I play with him so much that he already knows all my moves are going to be. I know he cheats at cards. Yes, I've seen him. Why does he win all the time? Because take a look at his hands. He's the guy who went to Vietnam, okay, on a ship. He chose a ship instead of a plane. And he cleaned out his fellow mates. He said, so I went to Vietnam. Yeah. Suckers. Oh, I left them with some drinking money, but I got the rest of their money. Yes. Why? He's a card sharp. Magician. Maneuver the cards. He actually showed me one day what he could do. I got a straight house. Yeah. One hand. Wow. The next hand he got the straight house. Yeah. But, as someone says, husbands kill wives, wives kill husbands. We are a violent race. It's usually the husband killing the wife. Think about it. Wives divorce their husband because their husbands are violent. Did you ever read the Christian Bible where the passage that says, all males know this thing if they're Christians, that males serve God and the females serves man. That the father gives away his daughter to the guy, unloads his daughter to the guy. And that's most likely the most happiest time in her life. Because somewhere down the line, she almost knows that she's going to get pregnant twice or maybe 3 times. And her husband is going to cheat on her. Ouch. Look at all the divorce rates out there. Look at all the husbands who need to see their children. Oh, Daddy, Daddy, who's that? Oh, that's my new girlfriend. But she looks so young, Daddy. Uh-huh. Why, she's just a little older than my sister. Yes. Oh, lawyers who are protecting the, you got to be with your children. Well, why don't you not marry your children? Why don't you actually take your belief that, you know, until death do us apart, and actually have, you believe in your wife and your children, take care of them, and don't go get a squeeze or someone younger. I always like the guys hitting about 40 years old. They look at their wife, they look at their children, and they look at the secretary. And they're masculine. You know, the wife is a few pounds overweight, maybe a lot of pounds overweight, and the secretary's not. And she's cute. Of course she's cute. She's 20 years old. She's younger than your daughter. Yeah, I know. Not me, not me. Oh, no, 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 no. And, you know, say the violence is as males against females, males against, which runs into a big problem. When a son sees his mother being beaten up by his father, kind of like puts into his brain that when he gets married, he gets to beat up his wife and children too. Yes, it puts a really bad thing on society. And a lot of your kids out there, you look at them, and they don't have worth, and they're becoming your serial killers. It could be one person at a time, or violence against society as a mass killing. You look at some of your mass killers out there, even when they were adults. They just hate everybody. And you can trace it back to their family life. You know, there's violence in their family. Oh, I guess our mass killers right now are children who hate everybody and go for an easy target. Sometimes they go for a nightclub or a church. Where are these people? What are we creating in this world? Well, you have to look exactly how President Putin is sitting there, is willing to sacrifice 100,000 of his fellow citizens into a war of conquest, if he doesn't start a nuclear war. But again, you go look at the mass killers out there and see what their background is. Why are they violent? What's in their family? Are they watching the wrong type of movies? Are they around the wrong type of people? For me to join a gang, as I was told, if I wanted to join a gang, I have to prove that I'm worthy. You know what they do in Chicago to prove them that they're worthy? They kill somebody. They used to videotape and send it to their friends, but they kill somebody. They walk up to somebody standing on the street corner and bang, or driving down the street, bang, and they record it on their little phones. They go back to the gang leader and says, "Look it, I'm worth something to the gang. I killed somebody." Back in the 90s, or was it 90s or 80s, the FBI did a study in major cities, well, like Chicago, and they found that their 12-year-old kids were killing people that were being hired by older people, and they got away with it. Why? They're 12 years old. That's our society, something we leave through the future. Mass killers, mass murderers, serial killers, people who don't give a damn. Well, that's violence of the human race. Thank you, human race. Kind of like everyone is living in fear. I guess it really doesn't make any difference. As we see in the Middle East, if they don't do it with a gun, they do it with a bomb. Oh well, that's our human race for you. Congratulations. Oh well, I guess that's enough for me. Okay. Did I make everybody mad at me? Bye.